Hi gang, it's January of 2025 and on the heels of one of the most significant winter storms I can recall in years. Before we begin, I thought it might be good to introduce myself a bit and show you some of the things that I've enjoyed making in my time as a hobbyist and an artist. This shop is my third workspace since I began in wood, and in many ways it's my favorite. More experience went into its design, and I built its foundation from the ground up, then had the Mennonite folks build the rest. So come on in with me, let's have a look around. And here we go. So here's the space. Let's take a quick tour. Drill press, an antique craftsman. I made this little jig for it that adjusts an angle, and it has a little guiding fence if needed. It slides on these little T-bolts. This lathe was my grandpa's. It used to be a steel working lathe, and he converted it to a woodworking lathe with a 1/4 horsepower electric motor, a little wheel that requires some resin, and this runs, this particular model runs on a leather belt bound together by some little metal teeth. I made this workbench based on some benches that I happened to get to work with when I was in college. It has a sliding flat clamp with a bench screw. I made the feet and legs with 2x4s butted together, glued and screwed. It's a little bit higher than the average one. I wanted it to be just an inch or so under my elbow length for better operation, stuff like that. It's got some 20 years of use at this point. Most of what you see in here for storage sake is salvaged. I made this little storage unit for my saw blades. The miter saw and the scroll saw were bought on Marketplace or at a yard sale. I made this router table for myself. Turned the handles on the lathe out of walnut. Plywood was salvaged from an old business coffee bar. I saw the pattern in this archaic resource known as a magazine. Bought my Jet 6-inch planer on Marketplace. This table saw here was gifted to me by my grandfather, the same one that gave me the lathe over there. Same original fence, but I had to craft a new handle because the original one broke for the clamping mechanism. Glue and screw, and it works like a charm. I refit it with some oak fencing on the right and left. This Ryobi here with the sliding tabletop was a gift. I like this as a secondary option if necessary. Bought the Ryobi on Facebook Marketplace. I had to refit it with one of these white acrylic pieces because the original was broken. And I also had to refit a turning handle on this mechanism. This was a handle that was made by my grandfather. It worked perfectly for this. Craftsman 12-inch table saw. I really like this model because of the depth of the table, the height of the working space, the height of the saw space. Craftsman shop vac for my dust collecting. I can convert this to whatever tool I need, from this saw to the joiner to the planer. I also can run it to this. I built this little adapter for it. My dust collection system is a Wen, variable speeds, a timer, and a remote. One of the things I love about the building design is the lofts allow me to store my lumber in-house. They're at my disposal. I don't have to go to another building to acquire them. And there we go. I didn't make any of this, but I did make this platform here that sort of floats, lifts around the existing framework of an armchair support for the support on this end underneath. I made my own pedal board box with a slide out handle and plate, and I did a mock dovetail finger joinery. And then the board is on this sliding action that comes in and out. Made the black shelves hanging on the wall. Made a little tool handle style lamp stand for the wall. Made all these frames, cut the mats, ordered the cast iron that I wire brushed, rewired, refit the light fixtures with new chains, new adapters. Red oak with walnut, and I think maple perhaps, inlays on the framing. And I did the drawing years and years ago. My boys were fans of Harry Potter, and so I turned one out of oak and stained the handle. And I made these candlesticks for Christmas, I think. Just lovely. This one is one of my first attempts ever at this style of frame art. Took off the original and refit this on it. But then I also made this little guy here out of some cow bone to replace the plastic one. I made this little speaker stand, and also made this stand of pretty high quality plywoods for the box here that goes to my 11 rack. And this sits, it's got some rubber tracks on it so it doesn't slip and slide. And then this will close up and separate and latch with a carrying handle. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope I can share some things that are interesting and useful, and we'll see you soon. Let's get started.